Well, damn. I mean, that's true. I mean, some would think I don't have an explanation, but I actually do.
Shocking.
You see, when they asked me about that, y'all, I thought they were asking me about the Cowboys. That's what I thought they were asking me about. I thought they were asking me about the Cowboys. I didn't know they were asking me about the Mavs. I had no idea. But now that we have seen what we have seen,
unbelievable.
I got a lot of explaining to do. You know JJ Redick is in here ready to hold me accountable because he think he Judge Judy. I mean, he is the male version of Judge Judy. And of course, you think I talk smack. You think I talk smack. Wait till you see this brother right here in studio with us. I am a choir boy compared to him. How you doing, Molly?
Hey, morning. Good to see you. Good job this weekend.
That's right.
What a start here for Dallas. On the road in a Game 7.
Doncic three.
Yeah, I can't change the culture. I see the hate, so say what you say, because I got to watch for the vultures.
Luka Doncic is absolutely putting on a show here in the Valley.
This is Phoenix's biggest deficit all season. And the boos cascading down.
They ain't never seen it like me. Got my team right beside me.
Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks are going to the Western Conference Finals.
I mean, 2 Game 7s yesterday, and talk about this crew right here. Stephen A. Smith, the one and only Pat Beverly. Great to have you in studio, sir. Great job on Get Up. I was watching you, and of course, JJ Redick. Gentlemen.
I just want to say, y'all be nice. Y'all be nice. You know what I'm saying? Both of y'all.
You're pointing
you my
at
little
us to
brother.
start.
You my little brother now. Don't ignore that.
I gotta say, he is a little scared today because what he thinks is going to happen here is that you and I are going to tag team and team up.
Oh, that's
what he thinks.
What y'all do.
That's what he
ready.
thinks.
That's what y'all do.
Okay.
I know how y'all roll.
And he doesn't know how you're going to come, so yeah, he's nervous about it.
Trust me, I know that's my little brother right there. I know how he's going to come at me. How's Mama? Everybody?
She's good. She's good. Thank you for asking, brother.
All the
Thank
best
you.
to Mrs. Beverly.
All right, gentlemen, let's do it. A lot to unpack. So as I mentioned, 2 Game 7s on Sunday as Luka and the Mavs said no mas to the #1 seeded Phoenix Suns. Not just sending them packing in Phoenix, but blowing them out by 33. There are levels to this, and Luka is on another one, 35, 10, and 4. Here's Jason Kidd on silencing those critics.
We don't know how far this can go. That's why we got to play them. That's why we showed up to play this evening. No one gave us a chance. A lot of people said it was going to be a blowout. Well, they were right, but they didn't have us on the winning side.
Were you aware at halftime you had as many points as the Suns?
Oh yeah, of course.
It was a good old-fashioned ass whooping, beginning to end.
All right, Chris Paul had 10, Devin Booker 11. Stephen A., I'll start with you here. What went wrong for the Suns?
Everything. That's the first answers. Props to the Dallas Mavericks. I got to apologize. I didn't see this coming. I knew Luka was going to do what he was going to do. I had no idea Spencer Dinwiddie would play like that. I thought Jalen Brunson would do his thing. But to be up by 30 at the half, or Luka to have as many points as the Phoenix Suns in the first half, for them to be up as many as 46 in a Game 7, it was the largest halftime deficit in the history of a Game 7. It was one of the largest deficits, the 46-point deficit in NBA history. It was a complete catastrophe on the part of the Phoenix Suns. It don't get much worse than what we saw yesterday. DeAndre Ayton, good luck in getting your max dollars. That's going to be compromised. You, Devin Booker, you still a star. Mad respect for you in the whole bit. But a Game 7 defines legacies. We all know this. When you don't show up in a Game 7 in epic fashion the way that they did yesterday, that is the kind of stuff that stays attached to you throughout your career unless you offset it by coming back to win a championship. That's just the way it is, JJ and Bev. Y'all know that. That's number 2. Number 3, I'm sad for my man Chris Paul because from the moment he turned 37, he's been awful. Averaging 9 points, 3.5 turnovers. I don't know what the hell happened to him over the last 4 or 5 games. When they lost 4 of those last 5 games, I don't know what the hell happened. Since he dropped 28 points in Game 2, Chris Paul has made 18 shots and has committed 18 turnovers the rest of this series. That's all he did. And so when you look at it from that perspective, I know they think they'll be back next year, but I'm looking at all the teams in the Western Conference, and I got serious concerns about the future. It was very, very bad. Period. No excuses. They got their butts whipped.
No, they're not going back. They're not going back. The NBA is going to be way more healthier next year. The competition is going to be stiff. People understand the way to win against Phoenix, and that is attacking Chris Paul. If you watch the game, if I'm a coach and if I'm playing Phoenix Suns in the playoffs, I'm holding my hat on that. It worked. Wear them down, make them play D, make them score, make them facilitate, and we go have our hats at the end of who will win. And that's what Dallas did. You have to give Jason Kidd a lot of credit. A lot of credit. He did a hell of a job.
I've talked about the Phoenix Suns in a glowing light all season. I've talked about Book and CP in a glowing light all season. And CP is a dear friend, but they deserve all the slander that they are going to get over the coming weeks and months for that Game 7 performance.
And they talk so much. Oh my God.
We talk. I was on here last.
I'll come back to you.
I was on here last week, and we've said the same thing. I said the same thing as you. It was 2-2. I said ultimately, I think Suns win this series. I did Game 6 on Thursday, and I think Dallas had figured them out. And I had a really hard time believing that they were going to win yesterday, that Suns would be able to win yesterday. Luka came out, he snatched their soul. Like there was something that happened there in that first quarter and a half, where he just took their soul. He took all the life out of that team. That's how good he is. To your point, they attacked CP. Game 6 and 7, CP scored 23 points. As the primary defender, when he was guarding, he gave up 33 points. 118 points per possession when he was the primary defender in Game 6 and 7. That's league best offense.
I'm looking at as you those numbers. I'm looking at
that is league best offense. So the formula: you blitz CP, you don't play drop, you force him to his left hand, and you attack him. Because when you get down to the playoffs, we've seen this year especially, when you get down to the playoffs, what matters? Size matters.
Right.
You need big wings. You need a player like Giannis. That's why losing Chris Middleton was so important, for the Celtics to win that series. You need size. And I love CP. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's one of the greatest point guards of all time. He's one of them, Pat. He's absolutely one of them.
This window let up.
But I do question if he is your best player.
Right.
If he is your best player, is your ceiling a championship team?
Well,
and so far, historically, the answer to that is no.
The ceiling is not a championship team. That's number one. Let's get that out of the way. You get blown out and you down by 46 in a Game 7 on your home court. Everything goes out the window.
Yep.
You have been significantly humbled and exposed. Those are the two words that come to my mind: humbled and exposed. Yeah, Luka did what he did, but I'm not surprised by that. I expected Luka to do his thing. What I didn't expect is that the reason why I picked the Phoenix Suns to win this game is because they were getting blown out on the road and they were winning at home. The role players seemed to be different in Dallas than they were when they went on the road. And that's what I was counting on. I was thinking about Game 7. Pressurized environment. It's going to have to come down to Luka, and Luka alone wins you at home, but on the road, not so much. So I was assuming that Phoenix was going to do what they were supposed to do in Game 7. But let's call it what it is. They got their ass kicked, and I mean thoroughly. It was a beat down. And if you are Devin Booker, you've also been humbled because, again, Luka is such a star. That was your opportunity to remind everybody you were 1-2. And so you are part of that team that gets blown out that way. You have absolutely no answer whatsoever. It comes down to that. But I'll go to you, Bev, because I want you to elaborate. You're talking about Phoenix talk so much. Give us some perspective, some insight on what it's like to play against the Phoenix Suns.
I mean, we are in Phoenix. We're playing against them, and we're going to see you guys in the playoff. You guys are going to be the AC. You guys who we want to see. But I'm going to pause it right there. All right. If Kawhi's not hurt, Phoenix doesn't go to the championship last year.
I agree with that.
Let's be honest.
No, I agree with that.
So why are we the next year talking about how great?
Because they turned around and they won 64 games.
They're a seasoned team. Their system is great. Their system is a system that all the players know. Their coach, they have all the players coming back. They had the main core been there. They just added CP. Their coach has been phenomenal. Of course, you're supposed to win a lot of games. You're made up to win a lot of games.
64 games says something.
Man, and then get blowed out says another
I agree that, but I'm saying if they win yesterday, we're not saying that because they had won 64 games.
And then
that's why we anticipated they were going to the conference finals. I thought Golden State was going to take them out. That was my belief all year. They was going to meet Phoenix, and they were going to take them out because Dallas was a body short.
We wanted them first round.
Minnesota wanted them first round.
First round.
Karl Anthony Towns wanted them first round.
Anthony Edwards wanted them first round.
Anthony Edwards. I mean, don't get me started, but that's a big time, bro.
You guys should have lost to the Clippers then.
We don't do that, but no.
I think there's an element here. I talked about this earlier this morning. There is an element here, just X's and O's wise. I think this is important to note.
Okay.
The Phoenix Suns have one of the worst shot profiles in the NBA, in the modern NBA. Pat Bev, what do teams try to get? Threes, layups, free throws,
yeah.
right?
Corner threes.
You're right. They operate in the mid-range. They're bottom 5 in the league in the regular season in three-point attempts. They're bottom 5 in the league in the regular season in free throw attempts per game. Now in the playoffs, they're 15th out of 16th in those two categories. Mm-hmm. They just don't generate enough pressure on the rim to create three-point opportunities. And what Dallas did in this series, they're up on every Chris Paul pick and roll. They're late switching on every. He can't get to that elbow jumper. Yep. Devin Booker, every time he gets a dribble handoff, every time he's in a pick and roll, they're blitzing that action. The Suns don't have that third guy. They don't have that third perimeter scorer.
But fellas, we're not having a conversation about why Phoenix lost. We're having a conversation about why.
It says down there what went wrong for Phoenix.
You interrupted. Hear my point. We're not having a conversation about why Phoenix lost in theory. We're having a conversation about why they were down by 46 points.
Scared.
30 at the half.
They were scared.
So now that's where, what are you saying to that?
Basketball player, you can see it in their eyes. They were scared. It ain't about Luka taking their soul. They knew starting the game what was going to happen. He's done it before. They watch, trust me. They have iPhones. They have Instagram. They see the numbers of Luka Doncic averaging 39. They hear me saying, man, he did it to me. He did it to me, Kawhi and Paul George. I'm damn sure he going to do it to them. They know that. The boy's scared of Luka. Ain't nobody afraid of anybody over there in Phoenix, man. Everybody in the league knows that, bro. Like, it's just that y'all don't know that because y'all not in the locker room. No one's afraid of Phoenix. We wanted them. No one's afraid of Phoenix. I talked to some teammates. I ain't going to say who because I'm going to say who. Forget it. I talked to Paul George last night. Man, Pat, ain't nobody scared of them. But you face Dallas, you ain't scared of Dallas, but, man, you
scared of Luka.
Hey, man, you got to get your game right when you play Luka. I'm just being honest. Right.
I want to go back to something really quick that you said earlier, Pat. You don't think CP3 is one of the greatest point guards?
My opinion. And of
Tell
course.
me why.
If I did a job and I had a freedom to do a job for 17 years and I got the keys to the Lamborghini in order to do the job and I did it and I was healthy, I took care of my body, I did all the small things for me to stay consistent in this league and I did it for 17 years, I better have some damn numbers. I better have numbers. And that's what I'm saying. If J.J. Redick was played with freedom for 17 years, the way he played with the Clippers, if he played like that for 17 years, he had a three-point, he had a record. No discredit to Steph Curry. I'm just saying, over a long period of time, you should get those numbers. And over a long period of time, you play the game long enough, you go get numbers.
But doesn't the brother deserve credit for lasting that long? And being in the league that long?
You just said the longevity, taking care of it.
And being good enough to be given the keys? Like, they're not giving the keys to the Lambo to any driver.
But then what about in clutch moments?
Well, this is where, to me, we're going to bring up his playoff failings. Chris Paul, for his career, has been better in the playoffs than in the regular season. Mm-hmm. These 5 games, he was terrible. He was terrible. This was not the CP3 that we've gotten used to. The one thing, you bring up a valid point about, the legacy and the opinion of it being based on his freedom, right? I get it. But you still have to be good enough to be given freedom. You still have to be good enough.
If you're a top
you still have to be good enough to do it that long, Pat. You know that. There's guys that do it for 2 or 3 years. To do it for 17 years at his level.
He hasn't done it for 17 years. He's done it for 15 years because he didn't make the playoffs a couple years.
Okay, there's another.
I'm just being honest. I'm just not gonna let y'all up here and just say anything. And I'm gonna be like, okay, I agree.
Excuse me.
I'm not.
We don't want you to do that.
First of all, you first take my brother. You entitled to say
No, you disagree with everything.
You say, we
You're actually
good. We
made
good.
the first
We
one.
good. It's no problem. It's no problem.
The perfect show for
But I want to
Pat
ask you because I'm going to ask this question. This is to both of you guys because it's a very important question. CP3 turned 37 last Friday, and from the moment he turned 37. Over these last 5 games, it just plummeted. I'm looking at CP3 numbers here. 28.4 million next season. 30.8 million the season after that.
That's 39.
30.8 million. 30.8 million in 2024-25. That's his last year.
I think there's a partial in the fourth year.
It is a partial in the fourth. What I'm asking is this. So he got 2.5 years left where he going to make this money. He's going to be in there, whatever. Was the last 5 games an aberration, or was it an indication of things to come? Because does it hit you that quick that drastic, where there's just a complete drop-off that you can't recover from, or are we going to just sit up here and say CP3 had a bad 5 games?
I just think I'm gonna go first. And I'll let
You go ahead.
Laz, you said 37 5 days ago.
Yeah, last Friday.
Last Friday.
Last Friday.
And that's when the game plan changed to start attacking Chris Paul.
Okay. 9 days ago.
To be a two-way player in this league is extremely hard, and we don't give them enough credit. To be able to play defense, to be able to play, make, facilitate, and get your own bucket is extremely hard. Extremely hard for anybody at whatever age. And that's all we've seen.
Okay.
They just took his legs away from him. They took his legs away from him. And there was a reason why he was shooting a high percentage. He shot all spot ups. He didn't have to move. Look at the game. Look at the game. Just look at the game. He shot all spot up Trey.
And I agree, but what I'm saying is based on what you're saying, is that what we should expect from him in the future?
Man, if I'm a coach next year, man, I'm doing the same game plan. With Chris Paul, maybe not for the season because you can get away from the season. Refs not going to call all that ticky-tack stuff. They're going to send CP to the free throw line 13, 14 times. But in the playoffs, if I'm a coach, man, I'll be attacking him from the start and see how dominoes lay.
The blueprint is absolutely there for how to attack CP in the playoffs. And look, he'll probably have another great season, and if they keep this core together, the Phoenix Suns will win a lot of games. They probably won't win 64 next year. But to keep size on him, to blitz him, to be up and pick a roll. You think about last year against you guys when Zubac was on the floor, when Jokic was on the floor against Denver. We watched in the first round against Valanciunas. Like, you just can't play drop coverage in the playoffs against CP. I don't understand why teams would do that. And credit to Dallas, they made that adjustment. And then, as you said, like, size matters. At this point, at 37, he'll be 38 next year in the playoffs. The size matters. It will catch up to him. Yes, absolutely.
All right, I think we're letting Devin Booker off the hook, though, because we're just focusing on Chris Paul here. I have numbers here. He's 0 for 11 from three-point the last 2 games when the Suns were facing elimination. What does that say to you?
What has he done before? I mean, of
Well,
course.
people were saying he could become the face of the league.
I'm saying, and I agree with that. They're going to make him the face of the league. They're going to do that regardless because his face is perfect for it. But I'm saying, what has he done before? I mean, he's only made the playoffs one time before. Like, why aren't we just jumping on a boat and just like.
No, the brother got game now. I mean,
so
I thought
no
he
one
was the top 5
no one in the
MVP
league is scared of
candidate.
him either? That he can get hot and go off?
Devin Booker?
No, I'm
Y'all
asking.
stop, man. When I compare people like Devin Booker, I put him in the same category as the same tier of Luka Doncic when you talk about players, right? Not the same game, but I'm saying when you talk about young rising stars, right? You have to put him, Trey Young in there. You have to put Luka in there. You have to put Anthony Edwards, Jason Tatum.
Hold on. Let me put
But
Bev.
Luka's at the same level. I'm
Hold
confused.
on. Let me put Bev on the spot here. I would put Devin Booker in the same class offensively. I would put him in the same class as a Paul George.
As who?
Paul George, your former teammate, who is a star in this league.
Hey, man.
Paul George is a star. Is he not?
Which Paul George?
What do you mean, which Paul George?
I'm asking a serious question. Before you get all
the Paul George, the Paul George of the
colorful.
Clippers.
Okay,
the
which
Paul
one?
George.
Also, the Clippers, not the Indiana one, because they're different ages. So give me the Paul George you're talking about.
Damn it.
I'm being honest. You can't give me the last year Hakeem Olajuwon and compare Shaq to the prime Olajuwon.
Before he had the nasty knee injury, there was a
So we compare.
Paul George.
Let's compare Indiana Paul George with Devin Booker.
No,
not even close.
I'm saying this Paul George that's on the Clippers, I still find to be a star in this league.
I agree. But
So Devin Booker's not on that level?
No. Now he is, but prime Paul George, no.
But you are putting him in the same level as Luka. That's where I'm getting confused.
I'm putting him in the same category as rising stars as Luka, as the face of the.
No, he's not. Luka has shown there's a distinct difference between him and Devin Booker. I'll give you that.
You guys are talking about basketball. I'm not talking about basketball. I'm talking about a group of guys, 5 guys that's going to be rising stars in the NBA for time to come. Right? That's what I'm saying. That's the category he's in.
Yeah.
What's the difference? Luka is making it happen.
Yes.
Luka has made it happen since day one. Not saying that Devin Booker hasn't. Luka has made it happen since day one. In the playoffs, too.
Yes.
Come on, man. Y'all can't get this man Devin Booker all this. He only made the playoffs one time before. Only one time.
I think there's an important distinction. Let's get aside from the Paul George, Devin Booker comparison.
Not even close.
Because I don't even think that's worth arguing about. But there's a difference between being a top 5 player and being a star. There's a difference between being a top 5 player and a rising star. There's a difference between being a top 5 player and an all-star. There's a difference top 5 all-NBA. When you're a top 5 player, your team has a chance to win a championship.
Is he a top 5 player?
That's it. That's
Not-
it.
not top
Luka, Kawhi Leonard with Toronto, Giannis last year. Like LeBron, you need a top 5 player to win a championship. Historically speaking, in the NBA, top 5 player currently, right then, in the moment, top 5. That's what you need. And the Suns don't have that right now. That's a fact.
I will tell you this. If it's amazing what one game can do. Because if this were reversed and Phoenix was the one that had was up by 46 yesterday, and they were blowing Dallas out of the building, and Devin Booker had played that way instead of Luka, we might be having a different conversation. But because of what actually happened, Devin Booker does not realize the damage that this loss has done. When you look at him, you're going to look at him differently now because a game 7 with everything on the line, everybody know you got to show up.
But how did you look at him before?
What I looked at him is, I still look at him as a star, but let me be very clear. I still looked at him as a star. I had him as one of my top 5 league MVP candidates this year.
What type of star? The 5-pointer star or the 6-pointer? Because there's a difference.
I don't even know how to answer that.
5-point. He's a 6-pointer star, and I've never seen that in person.
What does that mean?
That means that you don't really see those type of stars all the time. They come and go. He's not, man. He's not a star.
But Stephen,
you're right about that.
You've
seen that before. That's true.
Stephen, this is the second time he's done this in an elimination game. So what does it say to you now?
What it says to me is that he's not what we thought he was. Period. It doesn't mean that he can't play. It doesn't mean that he's not a star caliber player, but there are levels to this. And when you don't show up when it counts most, that gets held against you because that separates, or to use all the categories that you threw out there, that's where the separation takes place.
So I'm not comparing Devin Booker to Giannis by any stretch of the imagination, but when Giannis had his failures in Milwaukee, we had a lot of these same conversations. Giannis, who has grown up and matured, he has talked about this during these playoffs and how valuable those failures are.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the question is going forward about Devin Booker. What will we talk about him going forward? Can he get there?
My response is yes. But
will he learn?
Until he gets there,
no
this is where he is.
no doubt. Which is the same reason we're going to have.
What does there mean?
Get there is winning a game like last night.
No, because he won't be in that position again.
Because Phoenix is not going to win.
Come on, are you kidding me? No.
I mean, that's presently constructed, yeah, but then what they pulled off a trade or something. You never know what's going to happen.
But
you're saying
a lot of ifs.
A
lot of ifs.
As constructed.
A lot of ifs.
As constructed,
If
I
the
believe
fifth,
this
we'll all
was
be
Phoenix's last chance. As constructed.
Hey, you're flying to Miami today. Let's get to the East. Yeah. So the Celtics came back from being down 3-2 to take Game 6 in Milwaukee and Game 7 in Boston. They led by 10 in the third on Sunday when Jason Tatum sat for a bit with 4 fouls and never relinquished the lead and just dominated from there, culminating in a 19-point win and punching their ticket to the Eastern Conference Finals to face the Heat. Boston's leading scorer, you ask? That is Grant Williams. Jason Tatum says get familiar.
Grant played great tonight. You're right. He took more shots than anybody on the team. I think that's a first. He took 18 threes. I told him don't get used to that. But obviously tonight we needed it.
Legs heavy, body heavy, mind heavy, everything was heavy. Now I was just trying to be aggressive. At the end of the day, it's Game 7, and I'm not going to, hold the ball and, not look at the rim. I'd rather, miss a bunch of shots and keep playing and keep coming and keep being aggressive. Keep, looking for my teammate, keep making the right plays, then, go in a passive mode. I can live with that.
JJ, we can't sneeze at the fact that they had to go to Milwaukee, win a Game 6, come back home, win a Game 7. Obviously, tough team. Were you surprised that the Celtics came back in this series?
Not at all. I thought they were the better team, and this series really showed 2 things. Number one, Milwaukee needed Chris Middleton. Their half-court offense was terrible in this series, and they were going against the best defense, not only in the regular season, but in the playoffs. 80 points per 100 possessions in the half-court. So much was on Giannis' shoulder in this series, and they couldn't get anyone to have offensive output at an efficient level. Drew Holiday did not have a good series. This was all on Giannis' shoulder. They needed Middleton. The second thing is Milwaukee's defense. I don't understand the strategy of allowing Grant Williams, a 41% shooter in the regular season, a 41% shooter from 3 in the playoffs, to have 17 standstill looks. I'm not including the 18th one because it was a bad catch and he threw it up at the end of the shot clock. 17 line you up practice shots, 9 feet away, average distance closest defender when he caught the ball. That is ridiculous.
I understand why.
Why?
Because they were still trying to recover from what Jason Tatum did to them in Game 6.
They didn't even close out, though.
I'm saying that's what the hell happened. You had Budenholzer so petrified that Jason Tatum get going that he sat up there in game plan and said, "Listen, make sure he don't shoot. Damn it, we'll work out everything else. Let's make sure let anybody shoot but him." And he's scared the living hell out of them because of what he did in Game 6 in Milwaukee, and they were punch drunk from it, and they didn't recover. We've seen it a lot.
They even put 2 on the ball with Petrick. If you see some of the highlights, they literally putting 2 on the ball with the guy Petrick. If I'm a coach,
Pritchard.
I don't care how you say his name, Pritchard, Richard. I don't care.
I was like, who is that?
Yeah. But they put 2.
Pietrus.
They put the 2 on the ball with him.
Right.
Like, come on, man. What type of defense can sustain that throughout the whole game?
No question.
But this was their defense all year. They're going to give up a ton of 3-pointers. I get your point about the overreaction, but Bud has never overreacted in the playoffs. He's said, this is how we're going to guard, and we're going to guard this way, and we're going to do our system over and over again. Right. And we're going to rely on Wes Matthews and Drew Holiday to make it tough on teams.
Okay.
And they had some success in this series.
Okay.
Game 5, they had success. Game 1, they had success.
Well, there's a couple of things.
So I don't buy the overreaction. This is just how they guard.
You can say you don't have to buy it. I'm selling it, damn it. That's what I'm doing. That's number 1. Number 2, they did shoot 4-33 from three-point range. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget the fact that Grayson Allen had no business on the court. He was a disaster in this series. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget the fact that Bobby Portis didn't have a good game yesterday either.
Who's the first person you named?
No, Grayson Allen was feeling.
Who?
No, let me finish.
Man, stop. Why are you naming these people on your show? They get no play in our locker room in the NBA.
No, I was pointing out that they didn't produce. They didn't produce.
Duh.
Giannis, but wait a minute. Giannis kept kicking the ball to him. The fact of the matter, they had no choice because Middleton wasn't there. Drew Holiday did not have an effect. Can I mention him? You gonna tell me not to mention him?
He had to take all this energy and
okay,
guard.
I understand that. I'm not faulting him. I'm just saying what happened. The point is, I'm just naming a multitude of players who had.
Who we go name
listen,
next?
I'm just
Wes Matthews.
Anybody that
who we go name next?
Anybody that the Greek Freak was kicking the ball to, who were wide open and missing shots.
I got a question for you. If you're the Milwaukee Bucks,
if I'm
last
Milwaukee
summer,
Bucks.
coming off a championship, would you be willing to give P.J. Tucker 2 years, $15 million?
Yes, I would.
Yes.
Like the Miami Heat did?
Without question.
This series, to me, speaks to them not bringing him back because they had to play big. They had to play big. So they didn't have him on the floor. They don't have any wing depth because Middleton's out. Drew's exhausted. They've got Lopez guarding shooters on the perimeter. Them not bringing P.J. Tucker back was going to bite them at some point, absolutely, and it bit them in the series.
So when you say them, so that's because sometimes y'all like to say words that sometimes our viewers don't understand.
The front office, the team.
There we go. Let's just say. Okay, so if the front office would have did their job, basically what you're saying, and brung the defensive player and P.J. Tucker back, they would have had a chance.
It would have helped.
Okay, well,
it would have helped.
That.
I'm not saying he would have solved their half-court issues, but some of this sort of lack of versatility defensively, wing depth, having to have Drew Holiday take on a bigger role on offense and having to guard Tatum or Brown, plus having Lopez Portis on the floor at the same time. Like, you can go small with P.J. Tucker. Grant Williams maybe doesn't get those threes in a Game 7. That's all I'm saying.
I appreciate the breakdown. We all know they should have never let go. P.J. Tucker. We said that when they did.
Pay him.
When they paid the man.
Pay him.
We said it automatically.
Pay
it was a stupid decision, especially when you just won the chip.
Pay him.
You just won the chip. And part of it was, listen, regardless of the numbers KD put up, for example, you saw how P.J. Tucker was going against, how much he made him work. You can't minimize that. You don't let go of somebody like that. That's what they did, which is why I brought up Grayson Allen. That was one of the reasons they let him go. So you could bring somebody like Grayson Allen. So you got people in the scouting department for the Milwaukee Bucks that has some explaining to do, because when you looked at Giannis on the bench, he was not happy. And it wasn't just because he's losing. He's looking around him. He's like, what y'all got for me here? What y'all got for me? Look at this position y'all put me in.
Him and
Come
Drew.
on.
It is impressive what he did, though, not having Chris Middleton.
Drew.
Let me spin this forward, though, because Miami has a good defense, too, when we're talking about Boston. So tell me, how does Miami, Pat, match up with Boston?
Experience in coaching. Coach Spo, you know Coach Spo, he ain't going to get no sleep. He going to make sure everything he needs to be done will be done. He's going to make sure that when it comes to X's and O's, when it comes to adjustments, top tier. When it comes to scouting, when it comes to knowing the opponent's personnel, we're talking about a top tier coach. able to make adjustments on the fly. I can start Kyle Lowry. I can not start Kyle Lowry. Whoever plays in my system, they're going to play a brand of Miami Heat basketball. Shout out to Miami Heat. I got drafted there. Thanks for giving me a chance. But they go play their brand of basketball, and their brand of basketball is hard, physical basketball all game long.
So it sounds like you're leaning towards Miami.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
I'm not.
I think he just said it.
No. I hope I'm wrong. I sincerely hope I'm wrong, because we know where I want to be in June. Let's be very clear. But with that being said, I will tell you this.
Well, who wants to be in Miami in June? Can we talk about that for a second?
Miami.
Like by April, Miami is unbearable. Can we just talk about that for a second? The humidity is terrible. Come on, it's too hot in June. Stop it.
JJ,
Stop.
he's thinking about the evenings. Cools down a
You
little
go to
bit
the wrong
then.
places, my brother. But let me say this to you. In all seriousness, when you look at Miami, they're tough. They got rough riders. We know what Jimmy Butler brings to the table. I got a lot of respect for Hero and Adebayo and those brothers. And Eric Spoelstra's one of the best coaches in the game. They'll be ready and what have you.
Ever. That's correct. Eric Spoelstra is one of the best coaches to coach the game.
Okay, sure. I'm good with that. I'm good with that. No problem. No problem.
Let's not fight.
You ain't got to correct on everything. It ain't like I said he wasn't.
No, I just want to make sure the viewers
You just trying to correct everybody all a second. Hold off a second.
You wanted him to qualify the compliment.
That's all.
Qualify. You got to
It's like
qualify.
the fairness police over there.
I mean,
making
man,
sure we're accurate on this
it's 2 hours, bro. It's 2 hours. But I will tell you, he's one of the best coaches ever.
Thank you.
All right. Having said all of that, Udoka's no joke. This brother could coach too.
Agreed.
And this defense that they've got, that they play in Boston, is something to behold. And when you combine that with the fact that, again, you're looking at Jimmy Butler, who I believe in. Jimmy Butler is that dude, no doubt about it. But when you look at Tatum and when you look at Jaylen Brown, these are the two that I'm keeping my eyes on. And I think what they bring to the table. And then you've got length and size practically at every position. And the way that you play that Piranha-style defense, the way they get after you, I'm thinking they can match Miami's defensive intensity. And Miami as a closer has Butler. Boston as a closer has Tatum and Brown. And so when I look at it from that perspective, I think that Boston deserves the edge in this series.
I think this series is a lot more closely matched than most people.
It's very close.
Because
Why? What do you think? Most people are leaning towards Boston?
I think most people would lean towards Boston. I think
Okay.
most people, I said prior to the end of the Bucks Celtics series, I think whoever wins this series probably wins the East. That's I believe that. I believe in the Celtics. I've always believed in the Heat, and I look back to 2020. The Heat beat the Celtics in 6 games in the Eastern Conference Finals in the bubble. And then look, the bubble was a weird time. I get all that.
No.
The
bubble doesn't.
Yeah. Okay, it doesn't count. That's fine.
The bubble doesn't count.
We'll get to that in a second. The one thing I want to just make note of is that Bam.
I'll follow up
Adebayo
on that after we get into
was the best
commercial
player.
break.
Bam Adebayo was the best player for the Heat in that series. Al Horford was on the 76ers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Robert Williams did not play. Grant Williams barely played. So the Celtics to me have enough size.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with your sentiment. I don't think Jaylen Brown is the closer that Tatum or Jimmy Butler is.
I agree.
But I do think from that perspective, the Celtics have a little bit of an advantage in this series.
Yes, slight.
Because
I can
of
see
the
it going
size.
7.
Yeah.
I can see it going 7.
Celtics, Miami. Let me get in a quick commercial break. Everybody staying put, having fun on a Monday. Still to come on First Take. Did you hear what Daryl Morey had to say about James Harden? Why someone on this set still thinks he should offer a star guard a super max contract, and he's fallen short again. Chris Paul still without an appearance in the NBA Finals. Was this his last? So the 76ers won't be in a hunt for a new head coach over the offseason. At a press conference on Friday following Philadelphia's season-ending Game 6 loss to the Miami Heat, Sixers president of basketball ops Daryl Morey announced that Doc Rivers will return as the team's coach next season. As for the other hot topic in Philly, Morey on James Harden. Take a listen.
Look, he's an incredibly talented player, just like Joel, just like Tobias. And I'm excited for Doc and his staff to have a whole offseason, work with the players and come up with the best plan for the roster will have. Obviously, because of our circumstances, having it all come together in February makes it very difficult. To try and figure out how to unlock all the different skills of the players and how they can work together. We all know he's a very skilled player, and we'll figure out how to use him.
He said last night that he plans on being back. Obviously, there's a negotiation that has to go into that. Do you anticipate any potential issues with that, or do you fully expect him to be back next year?
That's the plan, is to have him back. That's been the plan since the trade. Obviously, we have to work with his representation, and that'll be between us to figure out how that works.
Tough decisions for Philly. Some would say just trust the process. Harden has a player option in 2022 with $47 million. JJ Redick, should the Sixers give Harden that supermax?
No, they shouldn't. I'd have a real hard time paying James Harden $60 million at age 37. You know, again, I've mentioned this a few times, but we have these cameras in the arena that track everything. And, you know, his top speed has been down 2 miles per hour over the last year and a half. His blow-by rate is significantly less, about 25% less than it was in his Houston years. And maybe some of that is health. Maybe that's some of his lingering issue from the hamstring injury. I get that. You know, you just had a game 6 where he shot 2 for 11. He took 2 shots in the second half. It'd be hard for me if I'm the ownership group, if I'm Daryl Morey. I know the relationship is there. It's hard for me to justify that. Having said all that, Pat, James Harden is still a fantastic player.
What's fantastic?
Fantastic? He's an all-star level point guard.
Give me someone else who's fantastic so I can compare the two.
Well, I think you were, on an earlier show, you compared it to Chris Paul's contract. So Chris Paul's contract that he re-signed with Phoenix is $120 million, 4 years. There's a partial guarantee on the third year. Chris signed that when he was 36. I would fully expect James Harden to get more than that, to get more money than that, but I'd have a hard time giving him a super max at this point in time in his career.
Max, super max, whatever the word is after super max, that's what you give him. He's James Harden. He's changed the game. You look at the all-time three-pointers made on the list, I believe he's 3. And he will finish behind Steph Curry at 2. This is a person you give the super max to, no hesitation about it. If you hesitate about it, he will go somewhere else. So who else do you get in place of him?
So you're okay. Go ahead. You got.
Stop.
Stop what?
Stop.
So,
you know good and damn well.
So the viewers,
they get no super max.
You're right.
You know good and damn
well. Because he deserves to get the super max.
He
You're
don't
right.
deserve the super max. Super max. You know what I'm saying? Hell, he don't deserve the max. Stop it.
Are you
Stop
kidding me?
Did I stutter?
Are you kidding me?
Let me tell you. First of all, let me break this down. Patrick Beverley, you don't get paid just for what you've done. You get paid because they're projecting what you will do. And when you look at James Harden, whether it's due to the hamstring injury or whatever, he's not the same dude.
And what's the same? I understand.
He's not the prolific
30,
scorer.
15, 15. He's not that guy.
He's not that guy.
But he's 22, 9, and 8.
Yes, 22, 9, and 8. Yeah, I go with that. He's 22, 9, and 8. That number right there. Let's go with your number. All right. That is not a supermax player. That is not a stop it.
Chris Paul
excuse me.
But he got
Chris Paul had just gone to the finals, which James Harden has never done. Let's be clear about that.
Chris Paul's not a supermax contract.
And that's not a supermax contract. So let's take that into consideration as well. That's number 2. Number 3, let's get back to Harden. Harden is no scrub. The brother can ball. We know this. We know how incredible he was for years. I mean, went like 8 straight years averaging a minimum of 27 points a game. Went 5 straight years averaging a minimum of 29, 3 straight years averaging over 30. We know what Harden brings to the table, but he is not. Exactly. That's why I'm talking to you, because you know better. Because the fact of the matter is, when you look at him now, there is a clear drop-off from what you once saw. And so if you're telling me that Harden deserves to get paid because of years of service, hell with it. Give it to him, because you're right. But if you're talking about projecting moving forward, remember, he's due to get 47 this upcoming year. He opts in, he's getting $47 million next year. But if he opts out, then he's looking for a long-term deal. You trying to tell me this brother deserves a max?
They could max him off of the number.
Exactly.
They could max him off.
Trying to tell me they're going to get him? Of course I know this. So you're going to sit up there and tell me that he deserves to get paid $60 million when he's 37
because
years
if he
old?
don't,
Stop it.
If Philly's not going to give it to him, someone else will.
They won't.
Now you stop it.
I promise you that.
Don't throw your computer at me. Now you got your girl want to throw your computer at me. What's going on?
I'm not even mad.
Let me scoot over a little bit.
I'm not finished.
You want to throw it? What's going on? Okay.
He got to Philadelphia, never attempted 20 shots in one single game, okay? He went about 15 of the last 16 games or so, never scored 25 points or more but one time, okay? When you 2 shots in a closeout game, 2 shot attempts in the second half. No, you're not getting a max off of that kind of performance. I'm sorry. You know better. I know you know better.
Right. Super duper max.
No super duper, no super, no max.
Well, if Philly doesn't give it to him, I guarantee it's a team in the NBA that will give it to him.
Oh, so you're trying to tell me there's a sucker? Hold on, you gonna follow my philosophy?
No,
there's a sucker born every minute. That's what we saying?
I'm just giving you what my coach say. I'm just the weatherman. I'm just giving you the weather, brother. If it's gonna rain, it's not.
Okay.
No matter what, he's getting a supermax.
All right, fair enough.
One clarification on that. He can't sign. He can only sign a supermax with Philly. Let's be clear.
Okay.
He can sign a max contract with.
Well, max contract with everybody, supermax for Philly. Let me ask you this question: You are running an organization in the NBA.
What organization?
No, don't give me which. You just told me. You just told me super duper max.
Yeah, but I'm
give
saying,
me which
but you can't.
organization.
Okay, you can't tell me I run the Washington Wizards, and now you're gonna tell me I run the LA Lakers. It's two different organizations. So give me a good one. Stop saying this stuff to say it.
How about both of them?
Okay,
First
cool.
of all, I don't say stuff to say.
Okay.
I say what I mean.
Okay.
Secondly, and more importantly, I'm asking you any organization you want. You give me an organization that can justifiably look at James Harden right now and say, excuse me, I want to invest max dollars in you for the next 3 or 4 years. Who's that organization?
Anybody.
Oh my God.
Don't put God in this.
I'm sorry, you're right. I won't put the Lord's name in there, but oh my goodness.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You got to be crazy.
No, not
you
crazy.
You got to be crazy.
Not crazy. Very sane.
Let's move on.
No, I want to ask you one question really quick because I talked to the guys on Friday about this. When we were talking about a game 6 and James Harden only attempted 2 shots, I had Tim Legler sitting here. I don't think you were on the show, and he felt like that was intentional why he did that. Stephen A. thought it was intentional. Perk thought he quit.
No, you're talking about now we're talking about a whole different thing. When you say intentional, you mean like someone who was to, I don't know, throw a game?
And
come on now.
Hold on, listen to me. Though I paused because I think that's the ultimate criticism, and I said I want to be fair, and I challenged the guys, and I went back again, and I asked them, and they said, and Stephen A. was here for it, that he felt it was intentional, and Perk felt that he quit, and I think that's the ultimate criticism of a player. So I paused, I followed up with them, and they said yes, they didn't mince their words. So where are you on that? Like, why would he only attempt 2 shots?
I play with James Harden, and has he came short up in the playoffs? Yes, right. But that's nothing new. Right? I challenge James Harden to make sure his mental preparation is correct, to make sure his body is correct, to make sure that he takes a summer to take care of his body. And he will do that because he hates being embarrassed. Trust me. I know this. That's literally my twin. I know him better than anybody. He's going to take this summer. He's going to take his body serious. He has to. You got all these people up here talking about him. All right? But at the same time, it's no one in the league that can do what James Harden is doing still at this age, at this time right now. At his age, you can't give me another guy who's done what he's doing.
What has he done lately?
Buckets and facilitate, and put pressure on the defense
But he hasn't gotten bucket, Pat. And
because of the free throw rule.
I have a question.
Because of the free throw rule.
But I have a question.
Being honest.
Pat. So James Harden, Houston James Harden, an absolute singular force, potentially year to year best player in the world, MVP, high level impact winning. Playoff failures. CP never had that level of performance individually that James had. Let's be honest. Never had that. But when we talk about the playoff failures, when we talk about where they're at now, why are you holding Chris to such a different standard than James? Because I've been on 2 shows with you, and you have gone at Chris pretty hard for what he did recently. And all you're looking at with James is what he did in the past. So that's where I'm a little confused on that.
So let me help you out so you're not confused and untangle that knot for you. All of my stuff come from CP when you guys talk about the greatest of all time. Right? Now when you mention stuff like the greatest of all time, now you have to back up greatness all the time. Right? We mentioned James Harden. Has he came up short in the playoffs? Yes. Has he came up short in the playoffs in the past? Yes. GMs, this is nothing like if we know this, GMs know this, owners know this. That doesn't change that he's going to get the super max.
You know what?
That doesn't change.
Save that, guys. We got to get into commercial break, and we're gonna come back to CP3 so you can explain more. Still to come on First Take. Some may call him the point guard, but can we still do that with Ball? Had 10 points. Devin Booker 11. Here's the point guard post game.
You play long enough and you don't win. Every time you lose, they're gonna say it was your best chance. But I think for me, we'll be right back next year. I'll tell you that much. I'm not retiring tomorrow. Thank God. Hopefully I'm healthy, come back. But keep playing.
All right, let's take a look at the numbers. Chris Paul has now blown 5 series after losing 2 games to none in his career. This is 2 more than any player in NBA history. Paul's performance in Game 7 didn't help the Suns' chances. He had a negative 39 plus minus, the worst of any game in his entire career. JJ Redick, Pat Beverly still here with us. Stephen A., I know you wanted to say something quickly before we get to the debate.
I just wanted to sit up there and just tell Patrick Beverly one thing. Don't ever call you and James Harden like y'all are alike. That's James Harden's problem. Patrick Beverly don't show up out of shape. Patrick Beverly is going to be whoever Patrick Beverly is. Whatever you're going to get from Patrick Beverly, and defense is your thing, that's what you're going to get. The problem with James Harden is that he doesn't give you what he needs to give you when it counts most. I love the brother. I'm wishing him well. You know, I know what a big-time talent he is, but he ain't you. If he had that mentality, he wouldn't have took 2 shots in the second half of a closeout playoff game. Don't ever say that again.
I have no comment.
Don't ever say that again. Let's move on.
All right, we'll go back to Chris Paul there. So was this CP3's last shot at a title?
I believe it is. I believe it is.
I agree with that.
Don't get your chance. Here's the deal. Here's the deal. Golden State, I believe, is going to be even better next year because I think Clay will be better. I think Jordan Poole will be better. I think Wiseman will be back. You'll have an additional big body. Steph Curry ain't fading because shots like that don't just go away. And I think that Golden State is going to be a team to be reckoned with. Dallas is clearly going to be a team to be reckoned with. I'm going to give Minnesota some love since Bev is sitting right next to me because Karl Anthony Towns can ball. That brother Anthony Edwards is something different. That brother is something different. He is something different, and he's coming. Memphis is here. They just have to go through what they had to go through. Don't ignore Memphis. Now, I don't know how they're going to keep it together in the future because you got a lot of cats that's going to be looking to get paid in the next couple of years or so. But I think next year Memphis is going to be there. So that's 4 teams right there. We got to sit up there. You got Golden State. You got Dallas. You got Memphis. You got Minnesota. All right?
Healthy Denver.
Healthy Denver. Oh, Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. coming back. We can't ignore them. That's 5 right there. Okay, Clippers, if Kawhi and Paul George come back healthy, which we have every reason to believe is going to happen. That's 6
You haven't
teams.
said the Lakers yet.
After 16, I haven't said the Lakers yet because I want to see who they're going to hire as their coach.
Okay.
That matters to me. Because
So more than their roster?
I'm not saying more than their roster, but I think the coach is going to have something to do with the roster that you see. Right. You got to have somebody that's going to hold cats accountable, sit them down,
I'm just
or move them out of the
questioning
way.
whatever coach they get. I'm just questioning. I don't want to talk about the Lakers right now.
Well, you the one who brought them up.
But
and he did
you
too.
said the Lakers, and I have a problem with this.
No, he said it. I didn't bring up the Lakers.
The Lakers, you said the coach. I'm sorry. You said the coach.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't matter who the coach is with that roster.
No.
And what pass do they have to?
But it starts with.
What do you change about the roster?
All of the, don't get me. Well, Russell Westbrook will be gone. Russell Westbrook will be gone. To me, you can't. He can't. That's not a fit for him. Number one. Number two, you can't be at their press conference talking about you wearing purple and gold and you arrived and you never had any expectations. That's not what Lakers basketball is all about. You got to make a move. So in that regard, Anthony Davis just got to get healthy. If Anthony Davis is healthy and LeBron is healthy, they're gonna be somebody to mess with, no doubt. But without the Lakers, I gave you 6 teams before I even got to the Phoenix Suns. And all I'm saying to you is this: I think this was Chris Paul's best chance. As presently constructed. Of course, Phoenix to make a deal or something could change. But as presently constructed, this is it. Phoenix will not be in this position next year as presently constructed. I think this was CP3's best chance.
Why are we, again, and I don't want to keep beating on the same drum, but why are we steady mentioning Phoenix Suns like established
because they were the defending Western Conference champions last year, and they won 64 games this year.
That's it.
That's why.
So that's why you give them.
No, I'm saying that's why we were talking about them.
Okay. All right, I got it then. I understand. So I just have to go to the Western Conference, and I have to win a bunch of games, and then I'll be considered. Minnesota Timberwolves will be considered one of the greatest teams. Okay, got it.
Not one of the greatest teams ever. The greatest team. If you won 64 games this year and was the number 1 seed, fresh off of getting to the finals the year before, we'd have been talking about you too. But with all due respect, Patrick Beverly, y'all did get bounced out of there.
50 games.
Okay, but you lost the first round, right?
Yeah.
Did you?
We did.
Okay.
I'm just because I was on the last show and the guy was Windhorst or whatever guy's name is.
Windhorst.
Yeah, he spoke about this team being a great team. And I just was trying to get the definition of a great team. So 63 games is a great team.
I think being in the finals last year and a chance potentially to go to the Western Conference
unless you're willing to stay for the record, the regular season doesn't matter.
No, I didn't say.
I know you didn't say that.
I said health matters, though.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
If Kawhi was healthy.
You did say 50 games. Did y'all win 50 games?
Yeah.
Did you say that? Did you bring that up?
Yeah.
So what you say about 64 wins then?
I guess they're a great team.
All right, and they lost.
Yeah.
All right, JJ, get in here. Is this CP3's last shot at winning a title?
As president constructed, absolutely it is. I think they missed a big opportunity at the trade deadline to get a third shot creator. A guy like Eric Gordon, they maybe could have got. And granted, Eric Gordon is not a superstar, but when they blitzed Devin Booker and they basically blitzed CP or they switched everything with CP, he wasn't able to get to the elbow. They needed a guy who could get a shot. They needed a guy who could put pressure on the rim. Eric Gordon drives and he hits threes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the Phoenix Suns shot profile. That's the guy they're missing to me, is a guy like that. The big question mark about them going forward, what do they do with DeAndre Ayton? Because at times, I think sometimes I look at their team, and Ayton's fantastic.
Whoa. He's okay.
Well, okay, that's fine. He's fantastic at punishing mismatches. In the two-man pick and roll with him and CP, they're the number one offensive doer among high-volume pick and roll players. Mm-hmm. So he is fantastic.
He's going to be.
He is fantastic. And he's 22 years old.
CP's going to have that with any rolling big. So that's not
okay.
He had it with DeAndre Jordan. DeAndre Jordan's
but
fantastic.
Again, I'm talking about the last 2 years. You go back 6
honest.
NBA seasons. That was the best duo. So anybody that Chris Paul has played with, that was the best duo in the pick and roll.
Okay.
Just DeAndre Ayton. So he is fantastic already. But my point is, there's times where I think having that traditional rim protecting, rim running big, like he's the one guy on your roster that you could facilitate a sign and trade with and potentially bring back a third player, a wing player that could get you buckets, they could guard. They just don't have that third option right now.
Let me say this to you about DeAndre Ayton since you brought his name up. And I want to make sure that I'm clear about this. I'm not questioning how good he is. He's young. He's talented. He's a 7-footer. I think he's got some promise. No doubt about that. He wants max dollars. I'm not sure he deserves that. But I will say this to y'all, because you do pay for projecting what you're going to do moving forward. You were drafted number 1 in the same draft that Luka Doncic was taken.
And
you got
Trae Young.
You got and Trae Young. Well, I just brought up because of yesterday's match.
Right.
Well, Trae Young wasn't a part of yesterday's match, but obviously, see what Trae Young has in his favor since you just brought him up is that Trae Young had big moments in the postseason where he showed up and he showed you that he was worthy of the praise.
Lights gets bigger, he gets bigger.
Way. That's right. Lights get bigger, he gets bigger.
Agreed.
We agree.
Agreed.
Right? Same thing with Luka. When you DeAndre Ayton and you know that Luka's against you and it's a game 7. I know it's not a direct matchup. It ain't like he's defending against Luka. It's not like Luka got the ball in his hands. He's a center. He's relying on CP and others to get him the ball. I understand. But at the same time, 5 points, 2 of 5 shooting in the game 7. See, that kind of stuff matters.
I'm not stop looking at you. I'm gonna look at JJ.
Because what I'm saying
Let's go down the line. Hold on. Let's go down the line on the Phoenix Suns roster. They all sucked last night. Should none of them get paid in the future? Are all of them horrible players?
Are you gonna answer? No,
hold on.
Answer your own question. I'll let you.
No.
You want me to answer it?
Is that what you're getting at?
No,
I'm confused.
No, what I'm saying to you is
there's a reason they didn't max him, Stephen A. There's a reason they didn't max him. It has nothing to do with playoff performance. He was good in the playoffs last year. The reason they didn't max him is because there's questions about his attitude and character.
JJ.
Boom. There you go.
One of the things you do as a reporter, you don't just talk to players. You actually go talk to the people who cut the checks too, and to see what they're thinking, whether they're right or wrong, because a lot of times they're wrong. You guys, you can find I don't like the contract you have. I think you deserve more.
Yeah,
I think you deserve more. Okay? I didn't want you to retire. Remember that? I was like, the worst thing Philadelphia did was let you and Jimmy Butler walk out the door. As far as I'm concerned, make one more run at it. You should have never been to New Orleans. You should have been right there with Jimmy Butler. Philadelphia might have won a chip, in my estimation, if the two of you were there with Embiid and stuff like that. Hell, Ben Simmons might not have taken a break. I mean, for all we know. I mean, look, miracles could have happened. What I'm saying is, moments like yesterday matter because people who cut checks look for an excuse not to give it to you. Even if they're wrong, they look for an excuse not to give it to you. And it's important that you don't provide it to them. And when a game 7 arrives, that's an important moment. it dictates a lot. And if you are DeAndre Ayton, they're going to remember that. That's all I'm saying.
I think it's important to
That's all I'm saying.
No, it's a valid point. I basically was agreeing with you without, you getting to your point, and it's a valid point. I think the thing to note with DeAndre Ayton is how he views himself. Prior to Chris Paul going there, he was a 20-point per game scorer. He was the number one pick. He was like the guy besides Devin Booker. Okay. So he's had to, in some ways, and I'm not saying he's done it, but in some ways he's had to sacrifice usage on that team. So he views himself as a max player. And then you get to the playoffs and you go halves without him touching the basketball. And a lot of that has to do with the Dallas defense. Because again, they're not operating in drop coverage. He's not getting those little 15-foot floaters. He's not getting the pocket pass with rolls all the way to the rim. And so there's a level of frustration. I did Game 6. He didn't get the ball to the second half.
Well, go get it off the rim, 7-footer.
Okay.
Because it's a lot of bricks that Booker and CP putting up there.
Right.
So if you're great, what will Shaq do? Give me the ball, I'm going to dunk it. I don't want to hear none of that. I don't want to hear none of that.
I'm not saying it's right.
I'm all about greatness.
I'm not saying it's
what will
right,
Wilt
Patrick.
Chamberlain do?
I'm not saying
what will
it's right,
Shaquille O'Neal do? Yeah. Get it off the rim. I don't have it in the pick and roll. I'm going to get it off the rim. I'm going to go get it. I'm going to go get it.
And one of the things that buffers Bev's point is that if you listen to Shaquille O'Neal, what does he always say? He's always bringing that up about the bigs. He's always saying, listen, sure you should be getting the ball. Sure the guard's responsibility to get you the ball, et cetera, et cetera. But if you don't, you got to find a way to go and have an impact.
And I guarantee.
You got to do it.
And I guarantee if he was to go up there, get 3 offensive rebounds and 3 dunks, I guarantee they'll post him the 4th time.
But some of that to me is they didn't post him. And he shot 65% this year against mismatches. Anytime they switched, they didn't look for him. And when they did, he scored.
Okay,
so some of that is on the Suns' guard.
Everyone's trying to find a way, and I'm trying to find a way to get in a commercial break real quick.
Man.
Coming up here on First Take, Stephen A. got his wish, headed to Miami. Oh, have some fun. But will you be spending the finals down there as well? We will get into that. And we know Tom Brady is coming back, but what about Drew Brees? We got some news. Dan Orlovsky will be here. It's First Take. Come right back.
Not scared of nobody.
And neither are we.
It's us versus everybody, and that's the mentality we have, and that's the mentality we're going to keep. Take it back to the 305 and work our way towards this championship.
Thinking about it, dreaming about it.
Even with the Heat being the higher seed and being favored by 2 in Game 1, the Celtics are the favorites to win the Eastern Conference Finals. The Heat and Celtics played 3 times during the regular season, with the Celtics winning 2 of those games. JJ, who has more to prove? Is it Jason Tatum or Jimmy Butler?
Oh, man. Well,
great question.
It's a tough question because I think they're both fantastic players, and in some ways they're similar players, big wings that play both sides of the basketball.
You say that plays both sides?
Jimmy Butler and Jason Tatum, yeah.
Jason Tatum plays both?
Oh, yeah, he does.
Oh, I'll just make
Yeah. Did you watch the Nets series at all?
Yeah, a little bit. Okay.
But for me, it's got to be Tatum. And the only reason I say that is I go back to 2020, and I know the bubble didn't count, according to Pat Beverly. But in that Eastern Conference Finals, Jimmy Butler got past the Boston Celtics, and then went toe-to-toe against LeBron in the finals. And so he has proven he can lead a team to the NBA Finals. Obviously, both of these players are without rings. Jason Tatum, 3 conference finals in 5 years. But again, I think just because of that one series, I got to go with Tatum. But look, do they have to prove anything? I don't know. Like, they're both.
You don't like my question?
No,
Did I ask
they're both
it?
awesome.
Did I ask
They're
it
both
okay
awesome.
for you though?
They're both awesome.
The right question. Just
Yeah.
making sure. Okay.
Yeah.
To me, it's Jimmy Butler. And I want to say this because, listen, you got a whole bunch of dudes that get sensitive these days. And I mean, Jimmy Butler is like, people doubting him or whatever. Not me.
When you say sensitive, what do you mean? Like what?
I'm talking about you have players that,
Like who?
they hear what's like a Jimmy Butler.
Okay.
Like a Jimmy Butler.
Okay.
Like, where you think people are doubting you. No,
Okay.
Jimmy Butler's a star in this league. Jimmy Butler's a rough rider. We know what Jimmy Butler brings to the table. I said it before and I'll say it again. The Philadelphia 76ers should have never lost Jimmy Butler, especially, first of all, because he could play it. Secondly, because of how tight he and Embiid were. When you got a brotherhood like that and they're high-end producers, you don't separate that. If you got to overpay a little bit, you overpay. You do what you got to do. You should have never let them go. They should let you go either, okay? Here's where I'm at with this, though. Jimmy Butler, 32. Jason Tatum's about 8 years younger.
Right.
And so when I look at Jason Tatum, you already been to like 3 or 4 conference finals, and you're 24 years old. You got time on your side. Time running out on Jimmy Butler. You don't get this many opportunities. You got to the finals, you showed you could lead your team, and you balled out in the NBA finals, so he deserves a lot of credit for that. He doesn't shrink beneath the moment. The lights get brighter, Jimmy Butler gets brighter. Okay, we know that about him. But in the same breath, you also got to look at that dust on that birth certificate. You ain't getting younger, you're getting older. And the opportunities that are going to be there for you may be sparse to say the least. And so I'm looking at it from the standpoint that Jason Tatum ain't got nothing but time on his side. Not only are you young, you got another young stud with you in Jaylen Brown and a young coach. Not to say that Jimmy Butler doesn't have that in Eric Spoelstra, but the point that I'm making is the opportunities are not going to be there as a plenty for Jimmy Butler as they are for Jason Tatum. And that's why I'm where I'm at with that.
No comment. I agree with everything you said. I mean, for me,
yeah, that is a comment.
I mean,
you agree with it. You agree with it. All right.
But for the most part,
you're co-signing him.
Yeah. But for the most part, I mean, you could, like you said, you made 2 valid points. I mean, the youth of Jason Tatum and the getting it out the mud as you type of quote with Jimmy Butler. So I mean, it's a toss-up for me.
Yeah. And I also look at it from this perspective as well. You're Miami, you're the number 1 seed. You got home court advantage. The road to the finals got to come through your house. What you going to do to protect it? All of these things matter.
But we just saw the sports book graphic up there.
I really don't give a damn about the
Caesars,
sports book. I never have.
Yeah, but I talked about this. I like opening hour. I talked about this in the opening hour, though, Stephen A. And I think most people in the NBA world right now are picking the Celtics.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And I think Caesars and Vegas clearly picking the Celtics.
But it's tight.
Yeah. So
it's tight. Well, Jimmy Butler can swing the balance. Yeah. He can swing the balance.
So can Jason Tatum.
All right.
So who's got more pressure now?
And I think it's Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler's clearly
because of his birth certificate.
Well, they're the number 1 seed. He's already proven that he can lead a team when he did it by taking Miami to the finals, even though you don't count the bubble, and I understand that. The bottom line is this ain't the bubble now. What you gonna do now? Because Jason Tatum's been knocking on the door for a few years, even though he's considerably younger.
I want to go back to that. And I know you have love for Miami, obviously. You said it earlier because they drafted you, et cetera. But you're the only one on this set that thinks Miami's going to win. Is that picking with your heart or with your head? Tell me why you think Miami has the edge.
I'll go back to coaching. Coach Spo. They're going to be the most prepared team. And that's not to discredit Udoka on the other end. I just know Spo. I just know Spo. They're not going to play any games with this. They've had a little taste of it in the bubble, and they want more. And I don't think they're going to come up short this year.
I will say this: I'm worried about Boston when it comes to Robert Williams. I think you need somebody like him in the series. Now, one would argue you needed him even more because of Milwaukee's size in the last series. But I think with Bam Adebayo and the activity that he brings to the equation, I just think that having Robert Williams in there, I think that helps immensely.
Is Miami deeper?
Deeper than Boston? I would have told you yes before this series against Milwaukee. But watching some cats come off the bench and do some of the things that they've done, I would still say Miami because Oladipo has really shown, he's reminded us of what he's capable of doing. Obviously, I'd say Miami.
You think Duncan Robinson's going to play?
I think he should. I think you find a way. I don't think that I didn't understand how he played 1 minute the first 4 or 5 games of this series against
and then
got
a 5-minute run.
I was surprised by that. Listen, you ain't paying him $90 million to just sit on the bench. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you expecting him. He's a sniper, and you expect him to be able to at least give you that. So I was surprised. But if you didn't play him against Philadelphia, how the hell you gonna play him against Boston? The way they get out on shooters. How you gonna play him against Boston if you couldn't play him against Philly?
Interesting.
Right. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right, we'll leave it there. Coming up here on First Take, nobody was able to stop Luka in last night's Game 7 victory. Will it be more of the same against Golden State, or are the Warriors? With the Rangers and Flames advancing, let's take a look at the second-round odds. The one-seeded Hurricanes are currently favored over the Rangers for the series in Game 1, and the one-seeded Flames are favored over the Oilers for both as well. Wednesday night on ESPN, you'll be able to see both of the Rangers and Flames in their second-round series at 7 and 9:30.
Let's do that hockey. Let's do that hockey.
Listen.
Let's do it.
These playoffs have been wild. We'll keep it going here, guys. Luka and the Mavs shocked the Suns in a blowout fashion to take Game 7 yesterday. The Dallas superstar, 35 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals in only 30 minutes, and said, "You can't get the smile off my face right now." But will he be smiling after taking on Steph in Golden State in the Western Conference Finals? That is the question. Stephen A., do the Mavs have a shot versus the Warriors?
Yes, they do. They won't win. Now, who the hell am I to say that after how wrong I was about my prediction in Game 7? I had it right up until that damn last game. I had to apologize to Jason Kidd this morning. It is what it is. I'm going with the Warriors. I'm not jumping off this bandwagon. See, because Warriors ain't going to miss shots the way Phoenix was missing them yesterday. That ain't going to happen. And I'm worried. Don't get me wrong. I will say this. I've been on the record, Bev. JJ knows this. I've been with the Warriors all season long. The Warriors and how they've looked the last 3 games, they ain't winning the chip. They keep playing this way. I just don't believe it'll last. I believe Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Jordan Poole will find their groove against Dallas. I think that Dallas will win a couple of games. I can see. Right now, I got the Warriors in 6. That's where I'm going with this right now. That's my belief. Warriors in 6, and they go back to the finals.
Can't disagree with that. I think the Warriors have one thing that a lot of teams don't have, and that's a defensive, consistent presence. I believe Draymond Green can guard Luka. I really do. He's not one of those wiry guards where you can just bang and post. He's not one of those guys who leaves his feet all the time. They have, no disrespect to their body types, but they kind of have the similar kind of husky body type. You just can't bag them down. You just can't hit Draymond with one move into the hole. So they have somebody that can kind of, I wouldn't say guard Luka, but make it hard on him. Wiggins, the rookie, Cowabunga. I don't care how you say his name.
Kuminga's his name.
Yeah, that's his name. Yeah, but he's a rookie, so I'm not gonna give his real name yet. But there's some people down on their team that can guard him, and Luka, he gonna be in chase mode all night. You got to chase Steph Curry around, Poole around, Klay around, and we'll see how it goes after that.
The Mavs definitely have a chance in the series, obviously, because they have Luka Doncic.
A chance to what?
A chance in the series.
So,
it's a chance.
To what?
I think, again, you don't particularly appreciate the Suns and how good they were this year, and I'm okay with that.
No, we're talking about Dallas.
Hold a second.
We're talking about Dallas.
But I think we should give some credit to Jason Kidd and the game plan that he had from Game 3 on. They attacked Chris Paul. They blitzed him. They blitzed Booker. Nothing the Suns did was comfortable. And so I'm very curious to see what his game plan is with the Warriors, who are a very different team than the Suns. Different shot profile, different offensive movement. I'm also curious to see who he targets. The Mavericks, they're one of the top teams in the league in terms of ISO possessions per game. Golden State is in the bottom half of the league in guarding ISOs. So I get your Draymond. I don't think Draymond can guard Luka one-on-one.
But those statistics are based off unhealthy Golden State team also. Draymond Green, he's been hurt in half the season, so those numbers aren't as accurate as those numbers are.
Let me say this.
And we did give Jason Kidd a lot of credit. He texted him.
Yeah.
I gave him credit. You gave him credit. That's enough credit.
No.
I mean, how much else you want us to give him? He did a hell of a job.
He can easily say he was the MVP of Game 7 the way that he coached, no doubt about it. What I would say to you is this, though. When you look at it, can Draymond guard Luka? Yeah, but not for a long period of time. I think he'll find himself in foul trouble. I'm looking at the combination of Draymond. I'm looking at Andrew Wiggins. I'm looking at Kuminga and Klay. Now, Klay isn't the defender that he once was. He's coming back from his injury, had a 2-year layoff. I think he'll be even better next year than he was this year. But I'm just saying, you've got some bodies that's legit 6'6", 6'7". This ain't Luka with CP3 defending him, okay? And he's CP3 coming up to the middle of his back for crying out loud. That's how short he is compared to Luka. They got some size on Golden State who know how to move their feet. Now that doesn't mean that Luka's not going to get his. He'll get his, but it'll be tougher. And I also think that other dudes are going to find it tough to get off as well. The Dinwiddies, the Cleavers of the world, the Dorian Finney-Smiths of the world, people like that. Even the Jalen Brunson, who I've been impressed by doing that throughout these playoffs. I just think it's going to be considerably tougher for them Golden State. I got Golden State in 6.
Let's make some picks. Golden State in 6.
Golden State championship.
Okay. You want to give me games or?
No, I don't care how it go. Win is a win.
Okay.
As long as you win.
I think Golden State wins the series, yeah.
Okay. We got more. Favorite college basketball player?
Respect.
You can't
No,
mad
JJ
him.
Redick
You
was
can't
my
mad him
favorite.
like he wasn't your favorite.
He was my favorite. I'm favorite basketball player. I wanted to go to Duke when I was a kid. I watched everything he did.
What did you like the most about him?
How he came off screens, and they put me in the same kind of offense when I was in college. That's how I got freshman of the year. So credit to JJ Redick.
I love it.
Love that. And look at me on TV right next to him. I couldn't make this up, man. I got water behind me. I got Molly here, Stephen A. Man, life is good, man.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Life is good.
By the grace of God.
Yes,
16 years ago, him and I met in spring of 2006. Yep, in St. Monica High School in Santa Monica, and he told me the same thing then.
Wait, is that St.
Yeah.
Monica's St. Monica's church? There?
I don't know. It was a
Well,
high
it's a
school
high
gym.
school. I'm saying, is that what
it was a high
it is?
school gym we trained at.
Oh,
and
it-
Pat came through. And
Whatever. It's
we
the
worked
church.
out
That's
together.
why it's the church
Yeah.
I go to in California. That's why I was curious. It's just very random of all the places. We'll leave it.
Pick people up full there. They hated me there too. They hated me there too. I see. That's the thing about 9'4". I mean 94 feet. I called myself 9'4". I've been the same person since I got here.
That's true.
I don't change.
Been
I don't
same
get
person
money.
since I've known you.
I've been the same
Been
person.
the same guy.
And you know what? Your path has
still
served
crazy.
you. Because that's why you are a dog out there
I
doing what you
appreciate that.
do.
Thank you.
Seriously. It's the truth.
Thank you.
And it's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
And I'll
You
leave
did good. You did
Solid.
good today, man.
Solid.
You did good.
Solid.
I'm pleased.
Be a little bit better.
I'm pleased.
I like the 3-button. I couldn't go with the 3-button feel. Makes me feel a little younger up here though. A little 3-button joint. So
When you that dog, you ain't supposed to be worried about whether you feel young.
But you have the viewers.
You ain't got to worry. That's what I'm saying. You ain't supposed to be worried. Since when you were worried?
I have to.
Since when you been
I
worried?
think the
This
view.
is a different
I think,
profession.
I think the
Can't be a
viewers
dumb
like you.
athlete now.
All right. We'll leave it there.
Thank you though.
Thank you. JJ, you'll be back with us tomorrow?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
You sure?
Good stuff.
Yeah, I hope so. You invite me back.
Of course you.
I heard some with
Oh, Pat, you're
PJ.
back tomorrow too.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. You're
am.
coming back for more.
We got the whole crew tomorrow?
Wow.
They
Wow.
invited me back.
Wow.
Yeah,
My
I was on
goodness.
I was on a day-to-day
Are you
contract.
going to go home and watch the film? Or are you just
I've already
gonna come
watched it.
to-
I'm locked in.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
He actually was watching during the commercial
He'll
break.
be here.
I'm locked in.
He'll be here. He ain't going nowhere.
But they said something
that'll
about a PJ from you.
Say what? A peach?
Not Tucker, but like a plane to Miami.
No, not this trip.
Oh, not this trip.
Not this trip.
Oh,
It's a 2-hour flight. I mean, how bougie do we have to be?
Not this
Come
trip.
on.
Not this trip.
There's
But
like a million airports here.
I'm working on it. I might change my mind.
You ain't wrong.
I might change.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you both tomorrow.
Thank you.
Speaking of Miami, Stephen A., there might be someone that's even more